Bullzully pressed forward. The forest of his own mind was a tangled place. Thoughts, like vines, snagged at his feet. Memories, like thorns, tore at his skin. He pushed onward. He had to find Aya. He muttered the name like a prayer. Aya, my pooky big boy. The words echoed strangely in the stillness, or was it stillness? There was a sound, a faint rhythmic pulse, and another sound beneath it. A whispered word. Skibidi. The path wound ahead, shrouded in mist. Bullzully gripped the lavda sword at his side. It hummed with a power that was his own, yet felt alien. He didn't understand the chaos in his mind, but he would face it for Aya. Skibidi. The word was louder now, closer. It pulsed with the rhythm of his heartbeat, or was his heartbeat echoing the word? Bullzully couldn't be sure. The forest seemed to press in, the air thick and heavy. He thought he saw figures lurking amongst the trees, twisted shapes that vanished when he blinked. Was he losing his mind or finding it? Mr. Mageba. The name slithered through his thoughts, cold and slick. Mageba was the key. He could feel it. Skibidi, skibidi. The whispers were growing in intensity, becoming chants, becoming screams. Bullzully pressed his hands against his ears, but the sound was inside his head. There was no escaping it. The forest floor sloped downwards. Bullzully stumbled, catching himself on the trunk of a gnarled tree. It pulsed beneath his hand, the bark strangely warm. When he pulled his hand away, it left a smoking brand. He stared at it, his mind reeling. What was happening to him? And then he saw him, standing at the bottom of the slope. Mr. Mageba. The figure was tall and impossibly thin, all sharp angles and jutting bones. He wore a tattered suit that hung loosely on his frame, like clothes on a scarecrow. His head was tilted at an unnatural angle, and his smile was a grotesque, too-wide gash. Mr. Mageba raised a hand in greeting, a gesture that was both welcoming and menacing. His eyes, 2 points of crimson light, burned into Bullzully's soul. He was both hideous and strangely handsome, like a fallen angel, the embodiment of madness. "Welcome, Bullzully." His voice was a dry rasp, like dead leaves skittering across pavement. "I've been expecting you." Bullzully found his voice hoarse and unused. "Where is he? What have you done with Aya?" Mr. Mageba chuckled, a sound like bones rattling in a cage. "Aya? Oh, he's here. He's always here, as much a part of you as I am." Confusion warred with anger in Bullzully's chest. "What are you talking about? Let him go!" he roared, drawing his lavda sword. The blade sang as it cleaved the air, humming with a power that felt both familiar and alien. Mr. Mageba merely smiled, unfazed by the display of aggression. "You misunderstand, dear Bullzully," he crooned, his voice like silk over broken glass. "I'm not holding him prisoner, not in the way you think. He's trapped, yes, but by your own fear, by your refusal to accept." "Accept what?" Bullzully spat, his grip tightening on the hilt of his sword. "What are you talking about?" Mr. Mageba tilted his head, his grin widening. "Why, the Skibidi, of course. Embrace the glorious chaos. It's the only way to defeat Yonkla." "The Skibidi?" Bullzully echoed, the word feeling foreign and dangerous on his tongue. "What is that?" He didn't like the way Mr. Mageba had said it, like it was something alluring, seductive, something that whispered promises of power, even as it threatened to unravel his mind. "Don't you see?" Mr. Mageba spread his hands wide, his grin a grotesque mockery of a smile. "It's everything. It's the key to your victory, the source of your strength. All you have to do is let go." "Let go?" Bullzully scoffed. "Never! I won't give in to this madness." He raised his lavda sword, pointing it at Mr. Mageba's chest. "Tell me where Aya is, or face the consequences." Mr. Mageba sighed, a sound like wind whistling through a graveyard. "So be it," he said, his voice laced with a strange sorrow. "If it is a fight you desire, then a fight you shall have. But know this, Bullzully, you cannot defeat what you refuse to understand." And with that, the forest itself seemed to twist and warp around them, transforming into a bizarre battleground. Trees became gnarled claws reaching out to grasp at Bullzully, their bark alive with writhing faces. The ground beneath his feet rippled and buckled, threatening to swallow him whole, but Bullzully stood firm, his resolve hardening with every passing moment. He met Mr. Mageba's attacks with a fury born of desperation, his lavda sword flashing like lightning in the dim light. Each strike was a prayer for Aya, a desperate plea for his friend's safety. The battle raged on, a chaotic dance of despair and determination. Bullzully fought with everything he had, his body and mind pushed to their absolute limit. But no matter how many times he struck down Mr. Mageba, the creature simply reformed, his laughter echoing through the twisted landscape of Bullzully's mind. Exhaustion gnawed at Bullzully's bones, his movements were slowing, his strikes becoming sluggish. He was losing. He was going to lose ire. The thought sent a spike of despair through him, so sharp and piercing that he almost dropped his sword. "Give in, Bullzully," Mr. Mageba crooned, his voice a siren song of insanity. "Embrace the skibidi, it's the only way." Bullzully looked down at his trembling hands, at the lavda sword that felt as heavy as lead in his grip. He looked at the swirling chaos that surrounded him, at the monstrous creatures that leered and jeered from the shadows. And he knew with a certainty that chilled him to the bone that Mr. Mageba was right. He closed his eyes, took a deep breath, and let go. The world exploded in a cacophony of sound and light. Bullzully felt himself pulled apart, scattered to the winds, his thoughts, his memories, his very essence all swirling together in a maelstrom of madness. And then just as suddenly as it began, it was over. Bullzully opened his eyes. He was standing in the heart of the forest, the remnants of the battle scattered around him like fallen leaves. But something was different. He could feel a power surging through his veins, a chaotic energy that both terrified and exhilarated him. He looked down at his hands. They were glowing with an eerie crimson light. "Yes," a voice whispered in his ear, a voice that sounded suspiciously like his own. "Embrace the skibidi, become the chaos." Bullzully threw back his head and laughed, a sound that echoed through the forest like the roar of a beast. He felt the last vestiges of his sanity slipping away, replaced by something other. Something powerful, something terrifying. "Pookie, Gigma skibidi," he screamed, his voice a guttural roar. The words felt both nonsensical and profound, a mantra of madness that seemed to resonate with the very fabric of his being. He had won, but at what cost?